Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Redleg. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to Mark and Terry from the Sprout Health Group. We'll also play some party games a little bit later, and I got a topic I want to talk about right here at the very beginning of the show that may ruffle a few feathers. So don't go anywhere. Friday Night Freedom starts right now. People of the world, welcome to Friday. Woohoo!
We made it.
We made it. Oh, my God. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Freedom here on WTF Nation Radio. I am your host, Redleg, and I'm joined tonight by the lovely and talented Minx. Hello, Minx.
Hi.
So glad you could join me in as a co-host tonight, and we're looking forward to bringing you a well-planned out and executed show.
Yes.
Yes, you believe that? I have some oceanfront property for you out
In Arizona, right?
right in Arizona, sure, as the show goes, as the song goes. Welcome, everybody. If you're a first-time listener or viewer of WTF Nation Radio, we're so glad you're here with us. And I mean that in the least sarcastic way possible.
Right?
Oh my God, so much is going on with me. Like a large part of the roof blew off of my house. The fence in the backyard is actually in the backyard as opposed to standing up along the perimeter of the backyard.
Nice.
Yeah, weather, storm damage. So the insurance adjuster is going to be here tomorrow to tally up how much it's going to cost to take care of all this, and I've only got $1,000 deductible, so I guess hopefully they'll say, well, let's just put a whole new roof on this thing. That's what I want to do, is because the house is almost due for a roof anyway. So what better time than when most of it's missing?
Well, I mean, I guess. But at least hopefully you won't have to be the one to replace it, considering you're in Das Boot now.
Well, I'm not wearing that fucking thing.
Well, I mean,
I'm
you're
supposed to, but I'm not. Yeah, so my latest journey to the VA hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, resulted in me getting one of those freaking boots that goes almost up to your knee that you wear like when you have a break. I'm not wearing that because it's not broken. Anyways, nobody cares about my health issues. Let's get down to getting down. First and foremost tonight, our guests, Mark and Terry from Sprout Health Group. These guys have a wealth of knowledge in stress, crisis management, substance abuse intervention, so on and so forth. Long resumes. I'm not going to read all that for you right now. We'll talk to them a little bit later in the show. Oh my God, and see what they have to tell us about their company, Sprout Health Group. And what else have we got coming up? Well, Monday on my show, Officer Anne-Marie Carrizales is going to be here. She's a Marine Corps veteran, has over 13 years of military and civilian law enforcement experience. Back in October of 2013, she was shot twice at point-blank range. One of those shots hit her in the face.
No.
That sounds bad, because it is. But what's interesting about this is that she got in her car and pursued the suspect for over 20 miles.
Because she's a badass, obviously.
Survivor mentality. She now speaks out about her experiences and in dealing with PTSD at events in hopes of inspiring other law enforcement officers to remain in the fight and to remind them that no one fights alone. So I'm looking forward to talking to her on Monday. It's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a great interview.
Huge.
It's gonna be huge. Hi to everyone who's in the Facebook Live chat. I see you guys and gals there. How's it going?
Right. Hello, everybody.
Kaz says my house is a total loss and I should move to Texas.
I mean, he's not wrong.
You guys couldn't handle me in Texas. Well, let me rephrase that. Texas cannot handle all of us together in one state for any extended period of time.
No, I'm pretty sure that it could, though. And I feel like we should challenge this.
I could
for science reasons.
I could move in with Spanky.
Right?
I can live with Spanky. Mrs. Redleg and Garbage Dog and I.
Yeah. I mean, I know the girl's constantly begging Spanky for a new dog, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It's a win for everybody.
And the dog is named Sansa.
Yeah.
Which, Game of Thrones, so obviously Spanky's going to love her.
True story. Okay, we'll
So
talk about it after the show. I might just move to Texas then, I suppose. Whatever. Oh, my God. Let's see. Thursday, May 11th, on Sergeant's Time, Todd Boating from Carry the Load. He's a native Texan. We were just talking about Texas. Jeez. His professional background began in 1989 when he enlisted the Marine Corps. He ultimately earned the rank of major in the infantry and completed his commitment to the Corps in 2003. He'll be on to talk about Carry the Load, which is a nonprofit dedicated to providing active, meaningful ways to honor and celebrate the sacrifices made by our nation's heroes, military, law enforcement, firefighter, and first responders. Todd's going to be on Sergeant's Time with Ice and Doc Madness and Gray Cloud and Mike Goff on Thursday, May 11th. And then that following Friday, a week from today, Adam Simon is going to be on my show. He's the writer of Man Down. He wrote the script to that movie. And the movie's about a homeless veteran that Adam met while he himself was homeless with 2 kids. Adam's going to come on my show to talk about how he wrote the script and how he advocates for homeless veterans. And don't forget, May 19th, 20th, and 21st, we're taking about half the WTF Nation radio crew out to War Horses for Vets in the Kansas City, Kansas area. We're going to be right outside of Kansas City. So if you're in the area and you'd like to come have a drink with us, feel free to do so.
I'm so excited.
I am too. More information about that as it approaches, and be sure if you haven't already liked the WTF Nation Radio Facebook page, go do that. That's where you'll be able to find out more information. Plus, we're going to be live streaming pretty much the whole weekend, so come check us out. Who's going? Well, it's going to be Pie, Kaz, Jay Reddy, Mom, Minx, Bobby, and myself.
Yeah. I've never met Pie. I'm excited.
Pie's good people. He's a really good guy. Nice, laid back, easygoing, funny dude. So
that's what I hear. Like, I've heard, obviously, I've heard him and I've conversed with him once, like on a show, but I've never actually like hung out with the dude like face to face or whatever. But I hear he's a good time.
He is. Now he's kind of like me when it comes to the radio station business. When he gets keyed in and focused on the task at hand, he's a little different than when he's outside of the, I guess, quote, professional element of the radio station. Different type of person.
I wonder which pie is going to show up.
Both.
Oh.
Yeah. It's going to be like business pie at day and party pie at night.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Party pie is a lot of fun. Business pie is kind of an asshole, but party pie is a lot of fun. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody, especially those of you who think that it's Mexican Independence Day.
Because you're wrong.
You've been severely misled.
You're wrong.
Wrong. Jeez. No, it's Cinco de Mayo marks the victory of the Mexican army over French troops at the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Mexico actually declared their independence 52 years prior to that. Oh, the more you know. I need that graphic.
In September.
Yes, in September, 52 years prior to that. There's your educational information on Mexican culture for the night.
Good job, everybody.
I feel like I should have prepared maybe some music and sound bites and stuff, but
right? Or whatever they do.
I was busy preparing coffee. Now let's get down to serious business and get all riled
great.
up, shall we?
Okay.
Health officials in Minnesota are zeroing in on the state's Somali American community as they scramble to contain the largest measles outbreak the area has seen since 1990, when 460 people contracted the virus and 3 died. That's right. 3 people died as a result of measles. This story says as of Thursday, the overall state count reached 41, but I looked at the most current information. It's now up to 44. 44 cases of measles currently in the area, and it's spread outside the group's community in Hennepin County to include the first adult patient. Current outbreak's been largely concentrated in the county, but a child who contracted the virus traveled to other parts of the state. A Minnesota Health Department spokesperson told a local newspaper, the Star Tribune. Officials are also considering instating mandatory isolation and quarantine orders for infected patients and those who may be at risk of exposure. There's more to the story, but the nuts and bolts of what I want to talk about is the fact that there are still people in this day and age who refuse to vaccinate their children. Why? They think it causes autism, or it goes against their religion, and so on and so forth. In Minnesota, children are required to be vaccinated before enrolling in child care, early education programs, or school, but state law allows children to receive exemption for medical reasons or conscientiously held beliefs, according to the Associated Press. Why should your conscientiously held beliefs put my child at risk of contracting something that, I mean, we're talking about the measles. We're not talking about some new disease. We're talking about something
that has been pretty much eradicated up until recently, when everyone started jumping on this anti-vaccination bandwagon. Let's just get that through your heads. It was almost eradicated the same way polio has pretty much been eradicated because of vaccines. But because some people listened to a fucking celebrity who went to, wait for it, no medical training at all, got on WebMD, and then started preaching her little story about how, oh no, it causes fucking autism when it fucking doesn't.
It's ridiculous.
And here we are.
So let's talk about how irresponsible it is for you as an adult parent to refuse to vaccinate your children and then in turn put others at risk, because how hard is it to understand that injecting a weakened or dead form of a virus to trigger the body's immune system response to prevent you from contracting the actual disease, how hard is it for you to understand this scientifically proven fact? How stupid and irresponsible of a person do you have to be to willingly and knowingly put other people at risk of contracting a potentially deadly disease? You should be put in jail. You're an idiot. There is no scientific or medical evidence that vaccinations cause autism. It's been over and over again. It's been proven that vaccines don't cause autism. Well, vaccines have mercury in them. No, they don't. Modern forms of vaccines do not have mercury in them. Older forms of vaccines had a non-toxic version of mercury in them as a vehicle. But it's not, even the non-toxic version of mercury has been eliminated from vaccines. Go to school, learn something, idiots.
You know, and one of the biggest anti-vax statements or arguments or whatever, saying, you know, like, oh, this, like, if vaccines work so well, like, why do you care if my child doesn't get vaccinated? Well, it's because my infant, who's not old enough to get vaccinated yet for this disease, can contract it from your unimmunized child. Like, that's what the big deal is. Like, you have to fucking vaccinate the herd so that way the entire herd is more healthy and more able to fight off disease and
right.
withstand, if there is a outbreak or whatever, they can fight it off, and it's not like you're counting dead children on the street.
Okay. I'm going to interject on this. I anti-vaxxers kind of piss me off. And I've had some experience. When I was 12 years old, like a year before they came out with the chickenpox vaccine. I was in ICU for 2 weeks from complications from chickenpox. I remember the doctors telling my parents to start, be prepared to plan my funeral. So, and I mean, it took me 6 months to recover just from that. I was out of school for 2 months. I had to be homeschooled. And to hear their argument about how the vaccine is dangerous for your child, like, really? I almost fucking died from chickenpox. And the older you get, the worse it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, and one of the reasons why that kind of happened, come to find out, I have like a rare genetic immune disorder. I mean, like the odds of getting this are like trying to win the fucking Mega Millions. For me, for my child to go to
lottery?
I do. I haven't won yet.
We need a little
one
money.
Of these days.
We need a little money in the station fund. We're getting kind of low on how I'm going to pay the bills around here. Go get the lottery, Mom, so we can.
I'm trying.
So we can refill. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm trying to be.
You're fine. I say it all the time, so it's okay. So when my kids are vaccinated, I make sure they get their vaccines. I get my vaccines. I know sometimes it kind of poses a risk for me to get them, but I still get them. However, for them to go to school with a child that's not vaccinated, depending on what that virus is, my kids can get it and then pass it on to me. My kids might be able to, to recover from that, but for me, it's definitely more dangerous. So to me, it's asinine for these parents to think to me, it's selfish.
It is.
One, for themselves and their beliefs, to do that to their children, and 3, to do that to the community.
Minx,
that's just my piece on it.
Minx, would you like me to take you off camera so you can eat dinner?
No, it's okay. I can wait until break.
I see you sneaking bites over there. I mean, if you need a break,
I know. Sorry, I'll stop.
You
but
don't have to stop.
Like, I've got friends who are anti-vaxxers, and I have to be very careful when I talk to them, like when they post stuff on their Facebook, because I really just want to be like, you're a dumbass, but I can't.
But we're not talking about. Minx, I'm sorry to interrupt. But we're not talking about. There are debates that nobody's going to win on online or in person or on Facebook or whatever. Politics, religion, and so on and so forth. But you shouldn't. I don't feel like you have to hold your tongue when you're trying to explain to somebody how ignorant they are of proven scientific and medical facts. Let them have it with both barrels.
Right? Kapow pow.
Yeah. Pew pew.
Pew pew. But it's ridiculous, and people are like, oh well, this person had this complication from this vaccine. Well, yes, complications happen. Fucking shit happens. Sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. 99% of the time, though, you're gonna be fine. Like, get fucking vaccinated. Like, personally, especially with measles, that's an airborne transmitted disease. So if a child who has measles, even if they are not showing symptoms of measles, if they have it and it's in that incubation stage, like, they're still contagious. So they're spreading that disease every time they leave the house, no matter where they go. They can go to the fucking supermarket. They can go to the fucking preschool or fucking anywhere. And anytime that kid coughs or breathes, they're spreading fucking measles. They're a fucking biological warfare agent.
Remember
right now.
in the early to mid 20th century, how polio was running rampant and decimating the population, crippling the population, crippling people, kids and adults. And then Dr. Jonas Salk came up with the polio vaccine.
Right? Holy shit.
It's amazing. It was a scientific breakthrough, and now people are immune to polio, assuming they get the fucking vaccination.
Yeah.
The evidence is in front of your face, people, in black and white. Because Jenny McCarthy says that vaccines cause autism. That's what you're basing your refusal to vaccinate your children on. It's like a fucking cult of some sort. These anti-vaxxer idiots, morons. If you're listening to this show and you refuse to vaccinate your children based on some skewed, twisted belief that you have, and you choose to ignore proven time and again medical and scientific evidence, if you refuse to ignore that, you are a fucking moron. Period. End of story. That's my opinion.
No, I agree. And like, honestly, if you don't vaccinate your children, you should homeschool them. Don't allow them out into public, because they're a fucking risk to every other child who has not yet been able to get vaccinated due to age or due to sickness or whatever. Like, your kid is now posing a threat to an infant that, is weeks old and unable to get this vaccine, and who will most likely, like, if they do contract measles, that's like a death sentence for them. And so how dare you put someone else's infant at risk just because you don't want to fucking vaccinate your goddamn kid? Like, get the fuck over it. You better fucking homeschool your fucking kid, because let me find out that your kid is in my kid's fucking class. You and I are going to have fucking words.
What's the I don't watch The Walking Dead, so I'm not familiar with the names of the people and stuff, but I understand that there's a dude that has a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
Keegan?
Yeah. What's
Keegan? I don't know.
What's the name of the baseball bat? Doesn't it have a name?
Yes, it's Lucille.
Lucille? Okay.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's Lucille.
If it's Lucille, all right, it's Lucille. So if you refuse to vaccinate your children, you should go fuck yourself with Lucille. That was a long way around to get to that point, but I hope I made my point.
Like, ouch. Ugh. It hurt.
There,
I would
there it is.
strongly not recommend doing that.
Minx is beautiful. Let me put Minx back up here then. You guys like Minx? Don't look at me. Look at Minx. She's so beautiful. Christopher. Make me an offer, dude. Let's talk.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is vaccinate your kids or fuck yourself with Lucille. Morons. Fact. Why am I hearing myself? That's really disturbing. Does anybody else hear that?
I did for a second, but it's gone.
Okay, good. There's nothing more annoying to me than to hear myself on the broadcast. Let me put myself back up there. Whew. Anybody got anything else to add to the why you should vaccinate your kids or fuck yourself argument?
Seal? No.
Yeah, Lucille.
No.
I gotta write that down. I gotta remember. I gotta use that more often. Because what better way to go fuck yourself than with a fucking baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire?
Okay, from a medical standpoint, I would highly don't do it. Just all sorts of internal damage. Just don't.
I saw something that
it's easier to get vaccinated.
I saw something Spanky posted earlier today about the swear jar. My swear jar could finance the fucking space program.
Yeah.
And I think we come to the conclusion that if WTF Nation Radio was to have a swear jar, we can eliminate the national debt.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. This show is not safe for work or children or the faint of heart.
Right.
A U.S. judge today set an April 2018 trial date for Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
El Chapo.
The charges he oversaw a multi-billion-dollar international drug trafficking operation responsible for murders and kidnappings. Guzman appeared in federal court in Brooklyn, New York today at a hearing to determine whether he could be represented by federal public defenders. Jay Reddy's calling. Jay Reddy wants to talk about things and probably stuff as well. Hey, Jay Reddy. Oh, what the fuck is going on over there?
Damn.
Hey.
Hey.
I got a question. So, when my son was born, he was born 4 months early, 1 pound 5 ounces, and I didn't want to get him vaccinated because I was convinced, these fucking documentaries had me convinced that they were going to poison my fucking kid, but that's not the fucking case.
Okay. First things first. Go get a baseball bat and some barbed wire. Wrap the barbed wire around the baseball bat and fuck yourself with it.
Well, no, I'm not going to. I mean, we got them vaccinated. Like, they sat down and explained it to me.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, the doctors did a good job and fucking broke it down Barney style. Wow, I'm fucking stupid.
So there was a point then, Jay Reddy, where you had bought into these. I don't even want to call them documentaries, but it's like a mockumentary. They're mocking fucking. They're mocking modern medicine and science, but they made a convincing argument. I guess it was well produced, and a lot of people talked about how bad vaccinations are. And then you warmed up to the fact that there's no evidence to support any of their claims.
Exactly, and I feel like I'm a smart guy to a point, and like they fucking convinced me. And it's you got to vaccinate your fucking kids, man. We don't want to be running around here with polio and fucking syphilitidosis or whatever the fuck it is.
Polio, measles, mumps, rubella, like all of these fucking things that have literally been pretty much eradicated until recently.
These diseases, like Minx says, are on the verge of eradication because of medical scientific breakthroughs in vaccinations and discovery of how the body's immune system works in defending against these and how to trigger the body's immune system to produce the antibodies necessary to prevent you from even contracting these fucking diseases. I don't see how that's hard to understand. I don't see how difficult it is to, I mean, and I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to anybody, but just go do some research. All right? You can either go look at documented medical research, facts, or you can listen to Jenny McCarthy, who knows nothing about this topic other than what somebody's been feeding her. But because she's a half-ass celebrity, somehow her argument carries more weight. I don't understand it.
Like,
Go ahead.
I don't understand. Like even anti-vaccinator funded studies into, like, they've funded studies to prove their point that vaccines lead to autism or could potentially cause autism. And their own funded studies have come back like, no, it doesn't. I don't know what to tell you.
I read an article like a couple years ago how with the whole, I guess, correlation with the vaccines and autism, like about the same time they give the vaccine and that autism kind of presents the, I guess, symptoms are about the same time.
Sure.
And that's why people were believing that the vaccines were causing autism.
So to kind of mansplain this to everybody, what Mom just said was the vaccinations are supposed to be given at a certain age. It just so happens that around that same time frame is when the symptoms of autism become noticeable.
Yep.
Correct.
That's really the only correlation.
That is a weakly watered down based fucking correlation if I've ever heard one. It's I mean, I don't want to use the word coincidental, but I mean that word kind of applies. That they just kind of happen around the same time. If your child is going to, as Mom used the medical term, present symptoms of autism, they come out around the same time that you're supposed to get the vaccinations. You know, just because I take a shit at the same time every day doesn't, when the sun's coming up, the sun coming up and me taking a shit don't have anything to do with each other. The sun doesn't come up because I shit, and I don't shit because the sun comes up. These happen at the same time.
Right? I love this one comment. I heard if a straight person eats red M&Ms, they unknowingly turn gay. Any truth to that?
Oh,
where did you see that? Oh, our listening and viewing audience is this is a comedy goldmine. All these people, all of you people.
So I'm gonna let my kid play in the dirt and let my kid play with kids that have chicken pox and shit, and just let him be a regular human.
You get chicken pox vaccination. They never have to have it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chicken pox vaccine.
Yes.
When the fuck did they do this? Fuck my mom.
I think 90s, early 2000s it came out.
Oh, never mind. I'll take that back. Sorry, Mom.
Oh no, like they came out like when I turned 13, because the year before that I had the fucking chicken pox, and yeah, a year later they came out with it, and I just kind of thought, well, what the fuck?
I had chicken pox, but I was born in the 70s. We were still fucking wearing bell bottoms and shit back then.
I want to see you with fucking bell bottoms.
Dude, I was born in 76, so I never had any bell bottoms. Although,
you had baby bell bottoms.
Hey, if somebody sent me some, I would totally wear them. I'm going
to let y'all get out of here. I'm going to fucking get me a drink and turn this up.
Anybody's thinking about sending me bell bottoms, I'm a 34, 32.
Okay.
Okay, Jay, ready? Don't you fucking send me bell bottoms.
I'm going to send you fucking like BDU bell bottoms, and you're going to rock them.
And then I'll cut them off into BDU shorts and wear a tank top. And, maybe I'll go get me a DV hat or something.
We can make you some bell bottom shorts.
That's some trendsetter shit right there. Who wears bell bottom shorts? Jay Reddy, I think we stumbled onto something. Copyright Redleg and Jay Reddy. 2017.
Hey, y'all have a good night, man.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
Bell bottom shorts. Who'd have thunk it? Never heard of such a thing. From the mind of Jay Reddy.
Right.
I'm almost finished with this coffee.
Oh no. So, did you see that a 19-year-old gang rape victim received 200 lashes and 6 months in jail for being raped?
This has to be somewhere in the Middle East.
Saudi Arabia.
Of course.
Wait for it. Saudi Arabia was just appointed by the UN onto UN's Women's Council, which is
asinine.
Hilarious.
Well, they have to have an example of what not to do in any situation.
But of course, they can only appoint men because, no women from Saudi Arabia can actually be part of the UN because that would be indecent. So, yeah, a Saudi Arabian woman must be accompanied by a male guardian, typically a relative, at all times in public. The rape victim violated this law by meeting a friend to retrieve a picture. For the crime of indecency and speaking to the press. 6 months in jail and 200 lashes because she got raped.
Leading the way over there in equality and civil rights. And,
right?
Gender equality and civil rights.
I'm over here just waiting on all the feminists to get pissed off about this and say how dare they, and all these people who are all about equal rights for everyone. Well, hello, where are you guys? Where's the protest? Where's the street marches? Where's the fucking tacky signs? I'm not seeing it.
What, Saudi Arabia? Are you kidding? They'll fucking cut your hands off and shit.
Even here, because, apparently, all the liberal arts students here in America are so, world knowledgeable and, everyone should just, get together and, hug each other. Well, fucking, why aren't you standing up for this chick?
I don't know. I guess that's maybe a cause that they don't want to take on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too complicated for them.
The Shiite Muslim woman had initially been sentenced to 90 lashes after being convicted of violating Saudi Arabia's rigid Islamic Sharia law on segregation of the sexes. Let's see. The upholding of a decision to punish the victim triggered international outcry. Canada said it would complain to Saudi authorities about the sentence, described as barbaric by Jose Verger, the Canadian minister responsible for the status of women.
Wait a minute. The Canadian minister's first name is Jose?
Yes.
Holy fuck. All right, please go ahead.
The minister responsible for the status of women is named Jose.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of weird that there's a Jose in Canada. I don't know. I was expecting a Paul or a Greg or something.
Or a woman.
Or maybe, maybe a woman. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I'm being misogynistic.
Marie.
Oh, I almost forgot. I got to say hi to Elena. Hi, Elena. Hi. I'm waving. I hope you're watching. I told you I was going to wave. It's an inside joke, or not joke, but it's it's personal between me and her. I bet she's not even watching.
But yeah, the New York-based Human Rights Watch said that the verdict, quote, not only sends victims of sexual violence the message that they should not press charges, but in effect offers protection and impunity to the perpetrators. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's fucking stupid.
It took place in 2006. The victim said it occurred as she tried to retrieve her picture from a male high school student she used to know. While in a car with the student, 2 men got into the vehicle and drove them to a secluded area. She said that she was raped there by 7 men, 3 of whom also attacked her friend. The case was referred back to the general court by an appeals court last summer after the woman's lawyer contested the initial verdict, saying it was too lenient for the rapist and unjust for the victim.
Jesus Christ. They're right.
Oh shit. Editorial footnote. It was just brought to my attention that the male friend of the female victim in this occurrence was also raped, and he received the same punishment as she did.
What the fuck, man? What are they doing over there?
Right? Isn't Saudi Arabia considered like a first world country?
It is. They're supposed to be like a progressive fucking first world country, but it's barbaric shit that they're doing over there. I mean, is this the kind of justice that we want in the world? Is this the kind of this Sharia law, man? I joke a lot about misogyny, about how I'm misogynistic, and I'm not. It's funny to act like I am, I guess. if you get my particular brand of humor, but
right,
that is the definition, the epitome of misogyny. It's that whole twisted way of thinking that women over there or anywhere where Sharia law exists, that women are somehow a property or subjugated or inferior because of their gender. I mean, they'd never be able to get away with that in the United States, because how many genders are we up to now?
The last I heard, I thought it was 72. Or something stupid. But I'm still old school. I'm still at 2. I lose track after that.
In my mind, laws, first of all, and I don't say this often because inevitably somebody will get pissed at me. Religion has no place in politics. Religion has no place in the law. Period.
No.
Because there's no clearly defined, definitive, proven right in religion, or whatever you choose to believe. But so many people believe that their religion is the one true religion. And it skews everybody's way of thinking, and it causes disagreements, and it is the result, or it is the cause of the majority of the conflict going on in the world right now. Countless disagreements, wars, poverty, oppression, all based on a series of beliefs that somebody holds that can't be proven. And I'm going to get off of this soapbox now before I get some backlash, but is this the way we want to live as a society, where not everybody is treated equally? No, that's not the society I want to live in. So how do you affect change? Well, I have some ideas that I'll keep to myself, lest I be branded something I'm not. It's got to stop. So who's responsible for affecting change? The leadership, evidently in Saudi Arabia, are the ones who support, condone, and encourage this type of shit. So you can't start there.
Nope.
It's going to have to be some kind of an uprising. And now I sound like a rebel rouser. I'm rousing rebels, not rabble, rebel.
Rabble.
I don't know. I don't have the answer for the world as a whole, which is why I concentrate on those close to me and do what I can for them. to support and love and protect them. But if everybody felt the same way that I did, don't you think maybe the world would run a little smoother? Instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing, worry about your fucking AO, stay in your lane.
I think that would happen in, like, you know, a perfect world.
It would be a utopia. Everybody minds their own fucking business.
Yeah, but that's too easy. Everyone has to be in each other's business. Everyone has to be all up in each other's shit.
I mean, I'm not some grand philosopher, and this is not groundbreaking shit. I'm just saying what it's going to take. Stay in your lane. Stop trying to control other people. Stop trying to keep other people under your thumb. Stop trying to brainwash people to get them to come around to your way of thinking. Anti-vaxxers, I'm looking at you. I mean, look, Adolf Hitler. Look how many people he convinced to subscribe to his philosophy. That somehow a certain group of people was inferior. Based on what? They're human beings. Based on their beliefs? It's ridiculous. You gotta break out of this mindset of what I believe is the one true belief. Whether that pertains to religion or anything else. Not everybody thinks the same way you do. Not everybody believes the same thing you do. Does that make them bad people? No. They just want to fucking live and love and be happy. That should be all anybody wants. I don't want to control anybody. Everybody that's in my immediate circle of loved ones and friends, including all of you listening right now, members of the WTF Nation radio staff, my actual family, all I want is for everybody to be happy and to get along with each other and to understand each other's beliefs and to let people believe what they want to believe as long as it doesn't intrude on your personal freedoms. Stop trying to fucking, bend people to your will and to get them to come around to your way of thinking. There's a lot of stuff that people who are listening to this show right now believe that I don't believe. So if you come at me and start trying to talk to me about this stuff, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to tell you to fuck off. I know what I believe. You can't convince me otherwise. Well, it's actually a lack of a belief. But you can't convince me otherwise. I believe what I believe. You can't, why would you hate me because of that? Why would you wish to do me harm and others like me because of that? I'm not hurting anybody. Let me do my fucking thing. World will be a lot better off. That's all I have to say about that. I was going to talk about El Chapo, and then I got all fucking preachy.
I know.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
We got tracked.
Anyway. Yeah, I got way off track. So El Chapo appeared in federal court today at a hearing to determine whether he can be represented by federal public defenders. He spent much of the hearing looking across the room to his 27-year-old wife, Emma, who was
I'm sorry, how old is she?
27.
And how old is he?
I don't know, he's a sugar daddy.
No.
Oh, he's 59.
I need a sugar daddy.
She was in the courtroom. His public defenders have complained to the judge that their client's restrictive prison conditions are turning him into a, quote, zombie. They also asked the judge to allow them to share the same space as Guzman in the correctional facility where he's being held. The lawyers are currently only allowed to speak to Guzman through a plexiglass screen.
Oh, no.
He appeared alert today, answering a judge's questions through an interpreter and listening through headphones. Security was tight at the hearing with 4 U.S. Marshals surrounding Guzman. The 59-year-old defendant lost a bid yesterday to relax the terms of his confinement at a lower Manhattan lockup when U.S. District Judge Brian Cogan concluded that solitary confinement was appropriate. The judge said the U.S. government was justified in applying tough jail conditions on a man famous for escaping from Mexican prison not once, but twice, including once through a mile-long tunnel stretching from the shower in his cell. But Cogan relaxed the restrictions known as the special administrative measures enough for Guzman to communicate with his wife through written questions and answers. I thank you, sir. I would like to continue with the current attorney because I feel very well with them, Guzman told the judge. His lawyers said in a statement that it was devastating for Guzman and his wife that they will not be allowed jail visits.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Guzman was brought to the U.S. in January to face charges that he oversaw a multi-billion-dollar international drug trafficking operation. He has pleaded not guilty. He's remained in a 20 by 12-foot cell for 23 hours a day in a wing of the Metropolitan Correctional Center that's often used to house high-risk inmates, including terrorists. The U.S. government has said severe restrictions are necessary for Guzman, in part because he used coded message, bribes, and other means to continue operating his drug empire from behind bars and to arrange escapes. Now, federal defenders for El Chapo submitted a 24-page letter to the court detailing their client's objection to the condition of his jail cell in Brooklyn. The lawyers argue his First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments are being violated by the current terms of his imprisonment. In addition, the newly filed court documents reveal details about the notorious Mexican drug lord's life in prison. With erratic air conditioning, he's often lacked enough warm clothing to avoid shivering. His only opportunity to see daylight is when he passes a small window on his way to exercise or to the exercise cell, it reads. Guzman faces life in prison. The death penalty was waived as part of the extradition agreement. Judge set a temporary trial date of April 2018, prompting Guzman's lawyers to laugh and protest they would need more time to prepare for a trial expected to take 2 to 3 months. Now, let's talk about how El Chapo is cold because of the erratic air conditioning, and that is somehow inhumane. Meanwhile, he oversaw a multi-billion-dollar international drug trafficking operation, which was responsible for murders and kidnappings. Dude,
What?
you're cold? You have air conditioning. Think about how sweet it's going to be in the summer.
Right? You're welcome.
I mean, cry me a fucking river, man. Really?
I mean,
this dude's escaped from prison twice.
He could be fucking in Tent City in fucking Maricopa County. Send him there.
Sheriff Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheriff Joe don't fuck around. But I guess my point is, you know, he's complaining that he can't have contact with his wife, who, by the way, probably is responsible for the orchestration of a lot of the shit that he's involved in.
Of course.
So let's not let them talk, lest he, you know, formulate some other plot to escape or you know, send orders through her to have people killed.
Exactly. Like, they can communicate through, like, letters. You're welcome.
But, the severe restrictions are necessary because he used coded messages, bribes, and other means to continue operating his drug empire from behind bars and to arrange escapes. There you go. There's your answer to why they can't communicate with each other.
Right.
I think that what the courts are doing is perfectly reasonable in this case to mitigate what's going on. Is this guy a citizen?
Given his history.
Is this guy a citizen? I don't think so. Ken, I don't think he's a citizen. A citizen of Mexico for sure.
Yeah.
This dude's a shitbag. That's what he is. So, fuck, he's probably going to have me killed now.
Shit.
Damn it. Not to mention the amount of overdoses related to this guy. I mean, that's a good point. So he's indirectly killed people. He's responsible for a lot of deaths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the court's violating any of his rights. I think they're being just restrictive enough to ensure that he can't continue to operate a criminal enterprise and or escape from prison for the third time. So yeah, the restrictions are going to be pretty significant in this case. El Chapo.
El Chapo.
El Chapo is
I'm
is
kind
in
of curious.
El prison again.
Like, with the whole, ISIS and all those assholes in the Middle East, and once, we take out the top target, it's like whack-a-mole. Like, another one pops up. Would it be the same with El Chapo?
Yeah, his imprisonment, I think, has created a void that people are going to rush to fill. And in the wake of that, there's going to be increased violence until another kingpin is established. And then, wash, rinse, repeat over and over and over. It's going to keep happening.
So I guess I'm not going to war as anytime soon.
So whack-a-mole, I think, is a good analogy, Mom. That every time you smash one, another one pops up somewhere else.
It's true.
Yeah, it's pretty funny too, actually. Whack-a-mole. So what do we whack them with Moabs over in the fucking Afghanistan?
We need to do it with North Korea.
Oh, North Korea. Yeah, they're really fucking. By the way, I'd like to share with you guys a little story about what I found in my inbox or my messenger this morning. So I'm friends with the guy that runs Awesome Shit, my drill sergeant said.
Mm-hmm.
I get a fucking video from him that says,
Name dropper.
Let me see if I can find it. He's such a dick. I'll share the video with you guys later. Let me see where it is. It's down here. It is. The video caption is North Korea shot down an American airline, World War III, and then there's a video. I'll tell you. All right, I'll explain the video to you because I don't want to leave you guys on the edge of your seats.
Oh my God!
The video is about 24 seconds long, and it's a commercial aircraft flying, and the camera follows it for about 22 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 seconds of the video is as the aircraft flies out of frame behind a building, the camera pans over, and there's a big poster-sized reproduction of a photograph hanging on the wall of a dude holding what, let me see, it's replaying again, about a 2-foot-long dick. This dude's dick is like 2.5 feet long. I'll show you guys a video later. He is such an asshole to send me something like that in the morning, and I even said as much in this chat here. I said, "You're such an asshole," to which he replied, "It's one of my best qualities," and that was the extent of our fucking conversation. So that's from the HMFIC over at Awesome Shit. My drill sergeant said, he's a friend of mine. Oh, friends like that who needs enemies. First thing in the morning, man, the sun wasn't even up good yet, and I checked my messages, and there's this 2-foot-long dick at the end of this video. What an asshole. I hope he's listening. Probably not. Oh, my God. Do I even need to read the article about Bo Bergdahl's trial coming up?
It's in October, right?
Yeah, it may be continued again. I guess the only thing of note in the article is that during the I'll read the end part of the article. During the 2016 presidential campaign, Donald Trump made comments such as he thought Bergdahl was, quote, a dirty, rotten traitor for leaving his post and endangering the lives of others. 5 soldiers died while looking for Bergdahl. After Bergdahl left his post, he was held as a Taliban prisoner until 2014, when the Obama administration was able to get him back to the United States through a prisoner swap. Bergdahl was released in exchange for 5 Guantanamo Bay detainees, a move which Trump called a, quote, very bad deal. Trump and his adjectives.
Right.
On numerous occasions, President Trump also added that in the good old days, he would have been executed. Bergdahl.
I mean, he's not wrong.
So Bergdahl's lawyers are contending that they don't think Bergdahl's going to get a fair trial because of the commander-in-chief's statements, who at the time was not commander-in-chief. So the judge, Colonel Jeffrey Nance, said that Trump's comments did not qualify as a due process violation. So they moved to have the trial dismissed because of the commander-in-chief's statements. The judge said, "Nuh-uh, you're going to stand trial for this." So Bergdahl is going to trial on October 23rd of this year.
Good. Friggin'. Did you see something else that might make you upset?
Oh, please.
Let's see. Florida Memorial University officially announced the posthumanist degree for Trayvon Martin.
Posthumous?
Yeah, sure. Posthumanist.
It's posthumous.
Words.
You know what? I intentionally passed over this article because I didn't want to read it on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would get angry. But please, by all means, continue.
Yeah, he is being awarded. Who, keep in mind, when the night he was killed, he was suspended from school. But sure, let's give him a fucking bachelor's degree. He's getting a bachelor's of science, I believe it is. Hold on, bachelor's of science degree in aviation. The university will confer upon Trayvon Martin what is it? Posthumous?
Yeah, posthumous.
Yes. Degree in aeronautical science with a concentration in flight education in honor of the steps he took during his young life towards becoming a pilot.
At the risk of sounding callous, that's quite an achievement for a dead dude to get that kind of degree.
It says this particular bachelor's degree is designated for those studying to be pilots. Martin's parents, both social justice activists and co-founder, right? So this is just a fancy way of saying social justice warrior.
I'm just suffering through this article as you read it.
Anyways, his parents will accept the degree on behalf of their son.
Well, good. Go get a job.
Additionally, the school will host a post-commencement fundraiser, which will partly support the Trayvon Martin Foundation.
Which does what? What does the foundation do?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea.
Such a fucking... I mean, that whole situation was fucked up. Zimmerman trying to be something he wasn't. Neighborhood watch. And then gets into it with this dude, and dude starts whooping his ass, and he shoots him. It's an unfortunate situation. But the kid, oh my God. I don't want to, you're fucking trying to tear me down here, Minx.
No.
Oh, by the way, Pip had a comment about Bergdahl, which I will now read on the air. Hang that faggot by his thumbs and beat him to death with Lucille. I'm reading a quote, everybody. Don't get all worked up. That's from Pip.
I love Pip. I like it, boyfriend.
Oh, my God. Fucking Pip. All right, so we're coming up against the break here. I want to remind everybody to stick around because when we come back from the break, our guests will be here. Terry and Mark. They're both from Sprout Health Group, and they have a wealth of knowledge and experience in various fields to include. I sound like Dorita. Oh no, Hans Bricks. You busted my balls, Hans Bricks. Oh my God. Yeah, Mark and Terry from Sprout Wellness Group have a wealth of knowledge in fields including traumatic stress. Intervention, crisis stress intervention, substance abuse intervention, and more. And we will talk to those two fine people after the break to tell us more about what they do and their qualifications, which are substantial based on everything I read. And see, maybe somebody in the listening audience needs their sort of help. So that's part of our mission here, to put the WTF Nation, everybody that's a part of our community, in touch with those who can help you help yourself with whatever you may have going on. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start the break. Don't forget, in the third hour of tonight's show, we will kick off some party games.
Yes,
they may run a little late tonight. I don't have anywhere to be at 4:30 tomorrow morning.
Oh, a party.
Yes, a party. Late night party. Party games with Redleg. I might have to go take some medication for this. You know what I'm talking about.
The special kind.
We're taking this break, everybody. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Come on. Oh, come on. My fucking computer's letting me down. Okay, here we go.
If you can find design what you wish for. Let me die, just scream the name. Give up on all kind of shame. Leave all the rest, adore the flesh. Come to me if you're not lost. And if you wanna feel like trust, I'm the one to realize. Fantasies down on your knees. Just one word and it's all gone. There's something in your chest, and it just keeps you locked to me. There's something that you beg for that will make you be still. There's something in your chest, it just keeps you locked to me. There's something in your neck that helps you out in the escape.
What's up, guys? This is Matt Best, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio. So listen the fuck in.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for sticking around through the break. We're back. Hour number 2, Friday Night Freedom here on WTF Nation Radio. Welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in, hi. You missed a pretty entertaining first hour. Not to toot my own horn, but I think we did a good job there.
I thought it was entertaining.
Toot toot.
Boop boop.
Currently joining us here on the phone, Mark and Terry. Mark is the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Sprout Health Group. And Terry is... Wait a minute.
You'll get it.
Terry is the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Sprout Health Group. And Mark's the Vice President. This all these letters, LCADC, it's the licensed counselor, alcohol, something.
Bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Oh, boy.
Licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor.
There you go. Licensed clinical alcohol and drug. Anytime I see a bunch of letters behind somebody's name, I'm like, this person knows their stuff. Because they don't just give those letters away.
Or cheated on the test.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's also a good point.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Redleg.
You guys have a very, very important mission, and it's one that we really care about, and that is helping those who are probably in the most dire need a human being could be in. People who are struggling with post-traumatic stress, people who are struggling with addictions, alcoholism, PTSD, to the people who need it most, firefighters, police officers, veterans, EMS personnel, and so on and so forth. And I want to know what drives a person to enter this particular field and to dedicate their lives to helping others who have endured some of the most traumatic things that a person can endure.
This is Mark. And I guess for me, like many people that do what I do is I had my own problems and I sought out help for those problems, and then in turn wanted to help others because I knew some of the desperations that I had at that moment in time. I didn't want other people to feel that way. So to, put programs together that are there to help others, kind of drives, why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm. And Redleg, this is Terry. And to the audience, I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War, and I came back pretty messed up. So over the years, I finally was treated for the addiction I had, and then was treated for the PTSD I had. And I don't know, I guess that's what leads my desire to just, to give back, to help out. But, I really have a feel, especially for the veterans. So it's just, it's an ongoing source of satisfaction for me to be able to help.
Terry, you've said that you've been in recovery for 32 years, and I think that's an interesting statement because at no point did you ever claim that you were cured. Do you think somebody, once they enter recovery, remains in recovery?
No, lots of folks, it depends on what your belief system is, but I subscribe to the disease concept of addiction. And, once it's in me, I basically lose control. And I don't know if I'm ever going to stop. So, I maintain a certain amount of vigil, to make sure that doesn't happen to me. Even if I have to go through surgery, I normally forego the use of a narcotic, unless it's prescribed and it's necessary. So, I don't think once you're in it, I wish I could say once you're in it, you stay in it, but it takes a certain amount of desire and willingness to continue to do so. And I think there comes a point in time, and I know it did for me, where I feel better than I ever felt in my life, and there's no reason for me to use something to feel better, if that makes sense to you.
No, that does make sense. I can see where somebody who had struggled with addiction for a long time and has, I guess, fled from the clutches of addiction and finally realized that they've done so, would feel so good about that they no longer feel like they need to resort back to the substances that they were addicted to. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Right, but that's the big thing about the PTSD treatment was that initially in the beginning, I was just happy that I wasn't feeling worse and there wasn't things that were happening to me that were worse. So I didn't care how I felt in the beginning, but eventually I had to address the PTSD in order to get over whatever guilt, shame, anxiety I experienced to really become the person I had hoped I could be, to where, to me, using a drug now is not an option.
Right.
Now, I don't need it anymore to feel good or to feel complete or whole. But I had to do the work.
And one thing that I hear from a lot of counselors, especially those who have dealt with addiction themselves, is you gotta want it. You have to want to overcome your addiction. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. If you don't care enough about yourself and your loved ones to overcome your addiction, then I mean you're just spinning your wheels.
And that's a lot of what going to treatment does. It helps you see the positives, and because when you're in an active addiction, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Then once you go into treatment, clinicians and counselors help kind of present that idea to you that your life can get better.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a, you're not going to go do a 3-week stint somewhere and then come out cured, quote, cured. You got to put the work in, like Terry said. Mark, you are a 4th generation firefighter. Wow. So it's been in your family for a while.
Yeah, we were just talking about that at dinner. I grew up in a firehouse. I mean, as a little kid, my grandparents. I used to spend the night at my grandfather's, and then the fire whistle, go off. I'd run over to the firehouse with them, open the doors up as a kid. My father's still president there. So I kind of was raised in that environment.
So have you? I mean, you're a former captain with the local. How do you pronounce the name of this?
Lower Chichester.
Chichester. See, we've all been saying it wrong.
I called it Chichester.
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 Yeah, you're
Lower
not
Chichester. You were a captain there.
Yes.
I have noticed because I had some firefighters in my family, and I was a police officer after I did my stint in the Army. I've noticed that the face of firefighting, I guess for lack of a better term, has changed to the point that it's primarily EMS calls now.
Yeah.
So how does that affect the men and women that work at the firehouse when they're not responding to fires, or I guess the traditional role of a firefighter, and are now having to go deal with EMS calls, a lot of which are dealing with people who have overdosed and are dealing with substance abuse problems? I mean, these things kind of go hand in hand now.
Well, I mean, a lot of the Northeast fire departments still are operating under that old mentality of fire and fire only, but I would say 70-80% of the rest of the country is now doing the dual role stuff, especially down here in Florida. And they work that schedule like 24 hours on, 64 off, or 72 off. So they're working a whole 24-hour shift, which is good if you're just running fire calls, because you may run maybe a fire a night, but then when you add in EMS calls in there and you're doing 20, 30, 40, 50 runs a shift, you're not getting that needed rest in between calls and stuff like that. So they're getting burned out, I think, a lot quicker. Because it's one after another. And a perfect example is a friend of mine's a firefighter in DC, and when he started there, he was just running fire calls, and whenever I go up and visit him now, he's nonstop running EMS, and the role has changed. So getting burned out.
These guys and gals have to experience a lot of traumatic stuff as in the EMS role. They see a lot of hurt kids. They see a lot of disfigured people in car accidents. They see a lot of gunshot victims, and they see a lot of people's loved ones there at the scene grieving because something terrible has happened to them.
Right.
So in your role as a crisis stress intervention expert and a traumatic stress expert, what do you see the effect that it's got to wear these people down? what kind of effect are you seeing?
They're getting PTSD. Everybody thought that PTSD was, just a military type condition, but now I think a lot of it has really come to light after Oklahoma City and 9/11, to where they're applying some of the same techniques as, crisis stress intervention and crisis stress management techniques in the fire service as well. So a lot of times after those traumatic events, if there's a good system in place, they'll have a clinician or a counselor come out, and work with them to make sure that the guys are doing okay. And then if they need a follow-up care, they're getting that resource to them.
What's the protocol for, or what do you think the protocol should be for a municipality or whatever, fire department or first responders in general for guys and gals that are dealing with this type of stress? Do they force them to continue to work? Do they give them a little convalescent time? How should they be dealing with this?
Pull off period. I know back at my fire department, if we went to, just say, a fire with a death, there would be a cool off period where you would sit on the side and you wouldn't do anything else. You wouldn't, pack hose or anything like that. But pretty much that was it. There should be, at least a peer support specialist, somebody to come in and, that has experienced other firefighters that's been in those same situations, talk to the guys. Because usually what happens is they'll send a clinician that doesn't really understand the job, and they'll sit all the firefighters in a room, and they'll all sit there with their hands crossed, looking with a smirk face, thinking, I don't need to be here.
Right.
Because they don't want to hear it. So it's got to be somebody that's used to or has experience in that role.
And then a lot of the ones that refuse to talk with the counselor, they then turn to alcohol or drugs to keep the voices or the demons at bay, not the voices, but to keep all the bad stuff out of their head. And then they end up with a substance abuse problem, and then they have to go see somebody like Terry, who then helps them with that problem. And then somebody who gets wrapped up in a substance abuse problem that works in public safety, are they ever okay to go back to work, Terry, or do they need to find another career?
No, my experience for almost all of them. I mean, we've done a lot of work over the years with different police organizations, and almost all of them can eventually go back to work. It's just a matter of, taking the time necessary to get the treatment you need, to be able to go through a detox process, to be able to go through a treatment process. And then most of them hook up with an aftercare setting where they start to address the issues, the thoughts, the feelings. That's one of the reasons we designed the whole concept of the first responders program. It's cops being with other first responders for that identification. The same way with veterans being with veterans, just it gives them that response. But almost all of them, over a period of time, can go back into their chosen field. It's not to take them out of the field.
Exactly. I mean, I get that.
And well, that's if they get to, and that's a lot of the promotion of trying to reach the first responders before they get to the point where they lose their job and they can't go back to work. It's get the help now before you get to a point where you get arrested in a DUI. Now you can't work anymore. Right. You get caught stealing meds off the ambulance and you can't work anymore. Once that addiction issue starts to come, get to it early so you don't lose your job. Because once you get those arrests, as you know, in the public safety field, your career is over.
Right. Have you ever seen a situation, either of you ever seen a situation where a first responder has been dealing with mental health or substance abuse problems, and the agency kind of just turned their back on them instead of supporting them?
Yes.
That's unfortunate, too, because I feel like the agency considers them a liability and they just write them off.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I always, when somebody, I like when they call me on their own, because, we're there for the firefighter or the vet. We're there for them. We're not there for the agency. So we're going to try to do everything in our power to make sure that they don't get jammed up with work. But once they get caught, that's it. Once they're in the system.
Right.
Just to put something out there, but like I guess a lot of the firemen and policemen, I don't know so much about, the EMTs, but the firemen and policemen in a lot of areas are with what I would call a union, whether it's, and a lot of times the unions that are educated, just like a lot of the labor unions that started out in the New York area, have their own people internally that can recognize these things and talk to people before it gets out of hand, or maybe, can cut a deal with the management for them to go off the treatment and be on a probationary period.
Right.
So, I mean, there's insight nowadays, and some areas are certainly better than others. But, I think there's that recognition now that, being able to help, have an organization, just like they did with a lot of the bigger companies where they have an employee assistance program.
That's what we had at the police department that I worked for. There was an employee assistance program, but there was really no protocol in place for an officer-involved shooting. The protocol was, I guess, kind of, are you good? Yeah, I'm good. We'll go back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
The guy says he's good. He's not good. He just killed somebody.
Yeah, he just says he's saying that because he doesn't want you to know he's not good.
Right. And then they turn again. I mean, it just as sure as the sun rises every morning, they turn to alcohol or drugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it destroys them. But fortunately, I think more and more these agencies and individuals are coming to realize that these are not the guys that turn to alcohol and drugs are not bad people. This is the only way that they know to cope with the bad things that they've had to deal with. So that's where organizations such as yours come into play. So if somebody's listening to us right now who is dealing with this sort of thing, wanted to get in touch with you, Mark and Terry, and your organization, how would they go about that?
They can call the 800 number, 866-676-7500, or go to the website frontlinerehab.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you will provide them with the resources or point them in the right direction, because one of you guys kind of hit the nail on the head when you said that they don't want to reach out for help because it somehow gives the perception that they're weak, or they're no longer good at their job, or the agency is going to consider them to be a liability instead of an asset.
Right.
It's the same thing in the military, where you don't want to ask for help because you don't want your buddies to view you as weak. There's a stigma attached to this, and it's unfortunate because it's costing people their jobs, it's costing people their lives, it's ruining families. So we got to overcome that stigma, that it's the stigma of, if you ask for help, you're weak. You're not weak. You need help. Your buddy trips and falls on the battlefield, you pick them up. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think you guys are providing a wonderful service, and I think it's unfortunate that more people don't reach out to gentlemen such as yourself, because you have a wealth of knowledge and experience. Again, I have here in front of me on my screen everything that the two of you are qualified in, and the experience you have. For somebody to not reach out to persons such as yourself is truly unfortunate. And Terry, that you say that you're willing to come out and say that you struggled with substance abuse and that you have been in recovery for 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think speaks volumes, because you are, in case anybody didn't hear it, a Vietnam veteran of the United States Army. By the way, I didn't get an opportunity to tell you this, but thank you, Terry, for your service.
And thank you for your service, Redleg.
I appreciate that. And let's not overlook the fact that Mark was a captain with a fire company. They don't just give that away either. So thank you both for your service to your country and your community. And on that note, we'll take a short break. I'm going to restart Facebook Live, and Mark and Terry will rejoin us on the other side of this break. Everybody, stay tuned. There's more Friday Night Freedom coming up right here on WTF Nation Radio.
listening to Redleg on the voice of U.S. Army WTF Moments. WTF Nation Radio.
Hungry for another taste. You stumble around the time you waste, and your table's overturned. Sooner or later you crash, then you burn. I think I wanna die tomorrow. And are you gonna be with me? I think I wanna die tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. The simple ways come and go. Still I love the way you turn me on. But I just can't find the words, 'cause everything I say sounds so absurd. I think I wanna die tomorrow. Tired of being with me. I think I wanna die tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. But it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. And it's so embarrassing that I can't let go. I think I wanna live tomorrow. So will you come and breathe with me? Think I wanna live tomorrow. I'm tired of being with me. Think I wanna live tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you need. I don't care around my heart. Just instead of watching bleed. I don't wish upon a star, 'cause I don't care who you are. 'Cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. You can't save me if I can't save me, and you won't follow if I keep falling in, and you won't listen to what I'm saying, 'cause I'm so broke.
Hello, everybody. If you're just tuning in, this is the second half of Friday Night Freedom, and you're listening or watching to WTF Nation Radio. I'm Redleg, your host, and my co-host, Minx, is back. She just
I am.
you pulled some magic there. I looked, you weren't there, and then I looked
No.
again, and you were. How'd you do that?
I sat down.
Ancient Chinese sing. Oh, you sat down. Oh, that's a lot
Yeah.
simpler than what I had in mind. Tonight's guests, Mark and Terry, they are looking at the businesses that you guys are involved in and everything. And I got confused initially. Mark's is Chief Executive Officer with 360 Wellness Incorporated and Vice President of Business Development of the Frontline program at Sprout Health Group. And and Terry is the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Sprout Health Group. You guys are involved in a lot of stuff, it looks like. And I tagged you in the Facebook post, so anybody that wants to go to your Facebook page and check them out.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for hanging out for the second half of the show.
Third half.
It's the second half of the second hour or something. Math. I suck at math. Fractions. Before the break, we were talking with Mark and Terry about the importance of seeking out help when you need help, whether or not you think you need help with post-traumatic stress, with substance abuse, with addiction issues that may arise from the traumatic stress. And I think we have an interesting dynamic going on here because sometimes we talk about substance abuse on the show. Sometimes we talk about post-traumatic stress on the show. Rarely ever, though, do we have two experts here, two people who are experts in both fields to tie those things together because more often than not, the substance abuse problems arise from the stress that it itself arises from a traumatic experience. They all tie together. So to have both of you on here, I think is fortunate for us.
Thank you.
Anybody who missed the first part of the show, Terry is a Vietnam veteran. He was in the United States Army in Vietnam. So you want to talk about world experience. This guy's been around. And he's been in the addiction field for 29 years. You started as an intern, Terry, and now you're a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor.
Correct.
So you said you've been in recovery yourself for 32 years. I think if anybody has any doubt as to Terry's credentials and experience, we just erased that. And Mark has been involved in the public safety sector for a long time, long enough to reach the rank of captain with his fire department, and he is a fourth generation firefighter. So, fire your questions off, everybody. These guys know their stuff. We don't get second rate guests here on WTF Nation Radio. These guys are experts in their field.
Thank you.
I think the important message that we left before the break was: if you need help, get help. How do you give somebody a push in the right direction and help ensure that they are seeking out the help they need? I mean, initially, I guess you have to identify that somebody needs help.
Right.
Something like that, from having done interventions for about, 20 years or something like that, there's always warning signs. I mean, even when I worked with adolescents, we had put together a sheet that we gave out to parents of warning signs, or teachers, things to look out for. There are warning signs, and you do want to make the attempt to intervene early, before it gets out of control, or before it causes all kinds of problems, or before you have a DUI where somebody gets killed. There's a lot of different types of interventions, but that's the purpose usually, is to intervene in their drinking and drugging with the family in order to be able to relay to the individual just how their drinking or drugging is affecting everybody around them. So there's a lot of things you can do. You had brought it up earlier about you have to want it, and that's not always the case. If you were going to wait sometimes till somebody wanted it, my own experience was that I wanted help long before I was able to pull the trigger because it was so easy to put it off for another day, which turned out to be years. So
right.
There's a lot of effective tools out there that can be utilized to reach people. But sometimes you got to be upfront and direct and honest with them about how it's, what you're seeing and how it's not only affecting them, but affecting you.
One thing that we preach a lot here is check on your buddies. Who knows you better than the person that you spend your day with, somebody who you work closely with. And that applies not only to the military, but in the public safety sector and first responders. You see these people every day. You're close. You're like a family. You could see when something's not right. So I think that your friends and coworkers and those that are close to you will identify this, but a lot of them don't act on it because the case a lot of times is, hey, bro, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. And then that's the end of it. But he's clearly not good.
A lot of, especially in the fire department, typically what happens is the alcoholic or the addict becomes kind of the joke of the weekend. You know, everybody goes out, they have a good time, except there's that one guy that just always overdoes it, acts like a total fool. And instead of sitting the guy down on Monday morning and saying, hey, maybe you need to get a little bit of help, you don't drink like you should, they make the jokes about it. You know, and he becomes a laughingstock. And then 3 months later, when he crashes his car or commits suicide, everybody's sitting around the table saying, oh, we never seen that coming. Well, yeah, you did. He was the guy, you know, you guys were laughing about all weekend.
Yeah. There's a statement, question statement here in the Facebook live chat from Derek. When I said, you know, tying the PTSD and the substance abuse together, he says, Derek says, anytime they gave me more than Vicodin, the withdrawals would be too much to deal with. For pain on pain is horrible. I use, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Kratom, Kratom. Now, how do you guys feel about that? I've done a little bit of reading on that, but I'm not overly familiar with it. But it sounds to me like Derek is relying on a substance to cope.
Yeah. There's a lot of argument about kratom, kind of like marijuana. It's natural. So, you know, you can get over PTSD without substances, you know, with the right treatments.
And here's one from Nathan. It says, I'm a firefighter on the civilian side. And in the military, I got diagnosed with PTSD 3 years ago. I recently acquired a service dog. Now I'm trying to get my department to recognize PTSD. I've also had guys from my unit who had substance abuse problems, and it almost cost them their career. I was lucky that I've never had substance abuse problems. So the service dog's working for Nathan.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in the service dogs. My dog, when I first, you know, when I had my problems and I had my dog, he was my, you know, the best friend, you know, there with you. I love service dog programs.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a how to put this? I guess it's a tradition. I can't find any better term than that. Kind of a lifestyle in the military, especially, where it's just. And Andrew here says, alcohol was glorified and made into a sport. For the young guys of the military, that's true because it was true with me. We would go out on the weekends and try to outdrink each other and end up shit-faced.
Right.
Is that setting laying the foundation for something that's going to be dangerous in the future, or is this just going out and socializing and being young and stupid?
Well, you know, Redleg, there's one of the things that I saw years ago working with adolescents was, you know, as you're developing skills to coping skills and lifestyle skills to move from being an adolescent to basically what we call a well-rounded adult, there becomes a point in time where drinking and drugging starts to become your recreational event. You know what I mean? And then after a period of time, it might be the only thing you know in order to have fun. And the more and more you do it, the more and more it becomes ingrained in the experience that after a while you don't know how to do anything else. And when you begin to look forward to the weekend so you can do this recreation event, you know, it becomes more and more ingrained into your lifestyle. And that, you know, I don't think anybody ever sets out to have an addiction problem or alcoholism, but sooner or later, for some folks, certainly not everybody, it gets away from you.
So they find out, you know, through recreational drinking that it can be a coping mechanism. And, you know, just because I use the term coping mechanism doesn't mean it's okay. It's just a way that they choose to cope with it. And then it starts that downward spiral.
Right. I might add, because I guess a part of me would feel remiss if I didn't. I want to go back to what that young fellow was talking about with kratom. But, the one thing in my experience is that, for years, rehabs preached what you would know as an abstinence-based program, that a drug is a drug. You know what I mean? And what people get addicted to is the way the substance that they're doing makes them feel. And you can easily, and it was believed to be like, it's like changing seats on the Titanic. If I sit over here, I'll be safe. And in reality, the ship's going down. But nowadays, there's more and more people that are venturing into what they call harm reduction programs. There's a fellow I know that's now has a rehab where they're teaching them to use marijuana instead of heroin. Now, from a harm reduction point of view, yes, it's certainly not as bad. But the reality of with something like a marijuana or a kratom is you may not experience any really negative side effects until you've been at it for a long time. I mean, guys that I grew up with that smoked marijuana religiously, and to this day, I mean, their vocabulary in their 60s is now limited to about 3 words. And most of it is like, yeah, man, like, wow. And that's a pretty sad state of affairs. So, again, would it have been better for them to bottom out early on, or do they have to wait until, there's no coming back? And it's the same way with alcohol. Alcohol does a lot of damage to the human body.
Absolutely.
Over a period of time. And sometimes there's no coming back. So, I would recommend the fellow that's on kratom, really get with a good professional and take a good hard look at it. Explore the options. Don't just settle.
Yeah, I guess everybody that's using a substance of some sort to cope is just living in the moment. And, of all people to look to the future, they need to do it the most, but I think they're the least capable. And I'm not taking a swipe at anybody that's dealing with substance abuse or that's relying on something to get through their daily life,
especially with something like PTSD. Anything to make you feel better from that moment that you're in. Can you say sometimes that that's what's in front of them? Can you blame them? Because it's a scary thing.
It is. Devin just asked me if I'm still alcohol free. Yes, I am, Devin. I haven't had a drink since before Thanksgiving. Still on the wagon.
God bless.
I don't think I had an alcohol problem. I think I was on the verge of developing one, and that was kind of a wake-up call, so I just stopped drinking.
Good for you.
That's actually very admirable. Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
And Andrew says, I disagree that solely marijuana has produced people with 3-word vocabularies.
That's just my experience. Doesn't make it a fact. It's just the people I know.
Yeah, and I don't know, Andrew, that that's McNasty. McNasty. I don't know that the marijuana is having a physiological effect that would cause somebody to have a 3-word vocabulary. I think maybe over time it changes your lifestyle to the point that you just kind of are in permanent chill mode and therefore don't like to use anything with more than 1 or 2 syllables when you talk. So yeah,
possible.
Go ahead, Mix.
Oh, sorry. I do have a question. So during the break, I know you guys, we talked about like my personal experience, growing up with, alcoholism and an addict mother, and being told that, I have to be nice to her, and family members telling me that, I'm driving her to drink and to use because I'm not coddling her and I'm not being nice to her. And when I respond back with no, like she's going to do it because she wants to do it, it has nothing to do with me. They say that I'm wrong. And like, I get it. I should support my mom in her attempt to, one, get sober and then also to stay sober. But at the same time, like I've been dealing with this for since I was 13, 14 years old. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, you're either going to do it or you're not. So stop lying to me and saying that you're going to do it and then like letting me down. And so I'm just wondering, like, if there is a quote unquote correct way of dealing with someone who is like a serial rehab visitor.
A serial rehab visitor. Interesting.
Someone who has been like, multiple times.
Just to answer your question, was the there's this new wave of adventure seekers that we've experienced, where these young folks, especially with the opiates and how powerful they are. We experienced a whole lot of young folks that are almost made going to rehab a way of life. So, they could have, I've run into young people, 10, 13, 15 rehabs, so at Sprout Health over at our New Jersey location, we started what we call the chronic relapser track, which is built around that type of a client that is, that goes to rehab on a frequent basis. They're what we call frequent flyers. And we've added a whole lot of new stuff, to not just your basic introduction to a recovery lifestyle, but why is it that you're so resistant to getting sober? Like, what has to happen before the light bulb goes off? And to really allow them to experience what it's like for their families. Every time you get up and go somewhere, you're going to a family event at a rehab.
Yeah. And a lot of addiction doesn't affect the individual. It devastates everybody around them. So there's, such as yourself, there's resentments and things like that. And it may just be for you. You have to go to, they have what's called Al-Anon and Nar-Anon for family members of, alcoholics and drug addicts to learn how to positively cope with the addict. So that may be something you'll explore.
Yeah. Okay.
You definitely want to support the recovery and not enable the addiction.
Yeah. And it's like the way I guess that I support it is I give her like tough love, and my family thinks I should coddle her, and I don't. Coddling her and like letting her get her way on things, like, it doesn't help, because she goes back into like to the same old patterns and the same old routine.
Yep.
That's kind of what we call loving somebody to death.
Yeah. And shut up, hooker. Sorry, the dog.
She's yelling at her dogs.
But yeah, like, and the last time that she had a bad relapse, like, they found her in the bottom of a pool, and yet, like, for whatever reason, like, she's still allowed to drive, and it, like, all these sort of things that like are out of my control, and I'm just like, why are these happening? Like, you're enabling her. And yet I'm being told I'm being the mean one and I'm causing her to drink.
I guess that raises a question of at what point is your emotional involvement with somebody who's dealing with an addiction problem and struggling with the treatment, at what point is your emotional involvement harmful to you? And should you end your emotional involvement with that person? In other words, how far do you let them drag you down before you get out of it?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that has to happen. I mean, it's a hard thing to think of, because it's a family member, but sometimes a separation is needed.
With my dad, my biological father, after years, because he's an alcoholic, after years and years of dealing with his alcoholism, probably within the past 3 years, I just had to cut him off. I couldn't, like, for me and my own family, my children and my husband, to be able to move on, I had to cut him out of my life. Unfortunately, that's had to happen, but it's been the best decision I've ever made for my family.
Yep, without a doubt.
Well, that's unfortunate, but sometimes it's a step you have to take, because there comes a time in your life that you have to do well for yourself and your immediate family, and if a loved one has been struggling for years and years and years, and they're not receptive to your attempts to get them into a recovery and to stick with it, then it's not fair to you. It's unfortunate that somebody would be that resistant or unable to recover. But like in your case, Mom, you just had to let it go. And I don't think poorly of anybody who makes that decision.
No, you can't.
What I find amazing is there's 5 strangers here, talking, and every one of us has experience with somebody with an addiction issue. Absolutely. So this problem affects pretty much somebody. Everybody has experience dealing with somebody with an addiction or has.
So that, all you can do, everybody, is the best you can and try to get them oriented in the right direction and get them involved with the program such as the one that Mark and Terry are part of. And I want to, before I wrap the segment up, Mark and Terry, give you an opportunity to tell the listening and viewing audience how they can get in touch with you with Sprout Health Group and the Frontline program and all the good things you guys have got going over there.
Mm-hmm. So the Frontline program is a track specifically for military and public safety folks that we built at Sprout Health Group. And it's set up under a peer support model. So you'll be around the same kind of people that you feel comfortable talking around. And you can go to frontlinerehab.com or call the 800 number at 866-676-7500.
Mm-hmm. And Redleg, for anybody that's really not in the first responder job situation, if anybody, we have a call center where we're always willing to talk to people and try to help them if at all possible or steer them in the right direction. And that number is 855-298-7477.
855-298-7477. It's open to anybody. And again, I would just like to stress to everybody that's listening, if you think you need help, then you need help. Reach out for help. It's not a sign of weakness. To me, acknowledging the fact that you need help and then not seeking out help is probably, I guess, more of a problem than the problem you're actually dealing with, because you have identified that you need help. I can't count the number of times that people have reached out to us here on the radio station that just need somebody to talk to, and sometimes that's all it takes. But take that step. Nobody's going to think poorly of you.
They don't even know you. If you feel like you're embarrassed, you call our call center, call the 800 number, and we talk to you. You may never see us or hear from us again, so there's nothing to be ashamed of.
And the other thing that we found really helpful, Redleg, that we're doing on our www.advhealth.com is we have that chat line. So if you're worried somebody's going to track your number, your phone number if you call in, or you prefer to just chat, by typing, completely anonymous, feel free.
That's true.
There are so many resources out there that are available to everybody. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of them. Terry, Mark, thank you guys so much. It's been a very informative segment. I hope we can have you back on again sometime in the future, because the amount of experience and knowledge that you possess, I think, is a great thing for this community, the military community, and also the first responder community. We have quite a few listeners from the first responder community, so the resources are out there, guys. People like Mark and Terry are there, and they want to see you succeed, and they want to help you. So we'll take this break. Mark, Terry, you guys can hang on for just a second and take this break. When we come back, the video is going to restart one more time, and we'll come back and do some party games.
Yeah.
Because Minx wants to kick everybody's ass at party games.
Quit Flash. Bring it, motherfuckers.
Oh, jeez. Kiss your mother with that mouth?
No.
Oh. Well, then. We'll be back, guys. The video's going to restart. We'll do party games.
dark side wins. The beautiful dark side wins. Always one for a good time. Always one for extremes. Until the fabric of life starts tearing at the seams. And I can never remember when it started to turn. I just simply forget all of the things I've learned. 'Cause I have the most reckless heart when I try. And I have the most beautiful dark side. I need to find some meaning, something true to believe in. Just left to my own devices. The beautiful dark side wins. The beautiful dark side wins. Today I will die. Could be today or tonight. I'm terrified. Have I just wasted time? Have I just wasted time? Yes, I have the most reckless heart when I try. And I have the most beautiful dark side. I need to find some meaning, something true to believe in. I'm terrified of seeing the beautiful dark side win. Beautiful dark side win.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Sanctuary I provide. closed off mind.